Welcome to For the Players. My name is K Murdoch. I am joined by the usual suspects, and I mean that in a really loving way. The other team members of Proxima, who you're going to hear from, Mr. Harvey Newman. Harvey is the founder and game director. I'm the audio director of Proxima, just to get it straight. And again, my name is K Murdoch, or Kyle, if you know me really well enough. And I handle a lot of the sound here, and lead out the audio team here in Proxima. This show is basically, we're all players at heart. We all love games and happen to be in a privileged space where we make them as well. So it's like pulling back the curtain and kind of giving fellow fans of video games, just kind of a bird's eye view. And in this case, I guess just listening to us talk and watch us talk about our journeys and our thoughts on the industry, because Lord knows there's a lot going on in the gaming industry, and we're all privileged to be here, but I definitely feel extra privileged that I have the ability to sit in and talk to you all, because again, a lot going on in video games and a lot of stuff that happens that people don't even know. Just the art of making a video game is so intriguing to a lot of people, because they don't know the cycle of the fact that it takes years to do something that you're just like, oh, why didn't the new so-and-so come out? It's like, because people are working on it, and it's a team. It is really like heavily a team effort, So, well, usually we start off with just talking about like anything that happened since we last spoke, as far as like anything caught your eye as far as news, any games you play, anything you want to trumpet and talk about as far as games.
So I've been actually trying to, so two things, trying to complete Zelda. Actually, not trying, I'm making it, because I just got yesterday night to fight Ganondorf, the big bad boss, and I got my ass whooped about a couple of times already, so I need to go back and do it a few more times, because he's strong. But after that, it's done. I think we've been talking about finding little things everywhere,
right?
Like, because I've spent so many hours, surely at this point I must be at a good 80 hours plus at Zelda, and because I have so little time, I think it's time for me to kind of move on from Zelda at this point, because there's so many other games to play. So I'm looking forward to kind of like finishing it, coming back at some point, doing some more stuff, all the side quests that I don't have, because I have a massive list of side quests to complete still. But yeah, like, it's a lot of fun. I'm playing with my daughter. She's only 7 years old. So towards the end of the game, spoiler alert for anybody that actually hasn't played Zelda, please skip 5 minutes or so. But you have to go down to the depths of Zelda, and it's very scary at first when you go down to the depths, because it's really dark and you don't want to spend time there, but they funnel you there. And then right at the end, you have to go just really deep. And I won't go into any more spoiler content, but it's really, really scary. Yeah, no, Zelda has been absolutely amazing to play. I'm right at the end, looking forward to wrapping it up with my daughter. I told her today that I couldn't do it because, we're doing this.
Right.
But she was a bit sad. But hopefully tomorrow we can actually kind of like wrap it up if Ganon doesn't keep kicking my ass, because at the moment he is. So, and then there was two more things that I actually checked this week that are super interesting. First thing, Half-Life. They released 20 or 25 anniversary. Documentary, and it's about an hour and a half. It's really worth seeing if you guys haven't watched it. For anybody that is like 30 years plus, 35 years or so plus, that it actually knows how impactful Half-Life was when it first came out, definitely watch it. You'll kind of reminisce a lot about how awesome that game was.
Okay, I got a confession to make too. Oh, this is so bad. I've never played Half-Life. I know everyone.
Oh my God. Let's switch off.
I know it's like now. Gaming blasphemy. I know the impact. Trust me, I would see all about it in Game Informer or EGM, like all the magazines. What is it that makes this? And another one, I'll just admit that I might as well get them all out. I've never played. Well, I take that back. I did play it later. It took me a long time to play Portal 2 specifically.
Oh, okay, yeah. But you did play it though.
I did play it though, and I know why everyone. It was Yeah, it's a really cool game. It's just so different than anything else, you know, which is why it's on top of the fact that I don't know what it was, but I just like kept wanting to play it no matter to figure it out. But What is it about Half-Life that makes it such a good? Was it just the story? Like, what is it?
Oh my god, like so many things at the time was like super groundbreaking. So like anybody that actually kind of like is 40 years plus, like Doom was one of the big bombs of like games development because it came out and all of a sudden it was the shooter that actually kind of set some standards for what first person shooters was. And then they started with the Doom engine,
Okay.
and they basically created Half-Life, and they just span it off, and it became Source and all kinds of stuff. But one thing is for sure, they kind of like just flipped the script so much, and they had things like scripted events. They had things like the storytelling was done via playthrough instead of cutscenes only, and you were immersed in the story from the very beginning. When you actually have like a cutscene of a rail, you actually are like on a train that is on a monorail, and you get into an office, and then you actually kind of like live through the game through the gameplay. So there was
Right.
no like, it was very interactive, right?
Gotcha.
And there was
Okay.
like very cutting edge. Like if you imagine, I don't know, whatever game is nowadays that is like the most beautiful game to look at, that was Half-Life back then, right? It was like super cutting edge in all kinds of ways. The controls felt great. It felt great to shoot things. It felt great to go through the story. You could not put it down. It was like through and through what Valve used to do before, which was a game that it was like Nintendo, the Nintendo of the West. That was Valve to me.
Okay.
It
Okay.
was
That's a
amazing.
good like way to kind of like make it make sense. Because I was like, I
Yeah.
would always hear and be so scared to ask people because it's just like you said. If you haven't seen Star Wars or Star Trek, and I was like, I'm not gonna be that dude. I'm just gonna be like,
Yeah.
nah, in my head, like, yeah, that's a great game. Meanwhile, I'm like, I don't know why is everyone singing the praises of this game.
I have a recommendation for you, Kyle, without us going too off track, but do you have a Steam Deck yet?
No, but I asked
Oh,
my wife to buy me one for Christmas.
oh, yeah. Please ask Father Christmas to give you a Steam Deck because he's awesome. First,
Okay.
you
Okay.
will not be able to put it down. But get the Steam Deck and then get the orange box and then just stop playing Half-Life and
Okay.
you'll get a new appreciation for that game.
And let me ask you this: like, was it like, I guess like, well, so you're telling, was it like a player versus player? What it was a story too in there, like a one player
Or yeah,
story. Okay.
yeah, it was a narrative-based first-person game.
Okay.
Which like Doom was all about shooting things and shooting things well, but Half-Life was about telling a story, a narrative-driven story that was actually
Okay.
really immersive, right? In many ways. And then you had like on future games, you had the gravity gun. You probably heard about the gravity
Yes.
gun, which is
Yes.
like absolutely epic. So
Okay.
this is once again a Valve giving us something. And Gabe, he actually said something very deep,
That's
which
the
is very
main
much
character,
about.
right?
No,
Gabe.
Gabe is actually the guy. Gabe Newell is like the guy that actually is like one of the
Oh,
founders
okay. Gotcha.
Of
Big
Valve.
difference. Okay.
He's basically a really good guy that knows games very well and is very thorough when it comes to game making. But slightly controversial, but for all the good reasons. And he did mention something that actually stuck to me on that documentary, which is very much about the world reacting to the player. That a lot of games actually you are there, but the world is not reacting to you as you go. And some of the things they wanted to do in Half-Life is to make sure that the world is reacting to the player. So as you walk through a corridor, as you're shooting NPCs quite heavily, they should run away from you if they are losing the fight. If you shoot a wall, there should be like a spark. There should be something
Oh,
that actually
okay.
tells you
Gotcha.
back as a player that something is reacting to you, so you feel immersed. And that is basically some of the theory and thoughts they had in that game that was not done before, right?
Wow. And just to be clear too, was there a Half-Life 1 or no?
1 and 2, but not 3,
Okay.
which is what
People have always, that's the thing, right? People have been waiting, like, will they ever make another one, right?
for many
Okay.
years. Yes, exactly. We'll never know.
Okay.
We'll never know. The closest thing we got was Half-Life Alex, which was a VR game that also was badass,
Okay.
but not quite the Half-Life that everybody wanted.
Okay. Interesting. Well, now I know. See, like this show is great because I'm learning a lot, and I don't feel embarrassed to ask you all.
But yeah, you can get it on Steam. So to me, at least, I've been playing a lot of the Steam Deck because I find myself working on my PC and going between playing and working. I find it difficult to actually bridge that gap. So I got myself a Steam Deck, which basically allows you to play virtually any game on Steam. Some better than others at the moment, but most games. And you can actually go ahead and get it there, or get it on the Steam Store on PC, and just download the Orange Box, which has Half-Life 1 and 2.
Gotcha.
And it has also some extra stuff that Half-Life has done. Half-Life has done since then.
Okay.
Is the best way for you to get the best bundle. And normally they are discounted heavily, especially now that it's Black Friday. So get it whenever you can, but just see it while you play it. Play with the mentality that these things didn't exist before,
Right.
and some of these things are now standard, but back then they were like just absolutely mind-blowing.
Okay.
And the documentary is actually on YouTube right now, so you guys can go to
nice.
YouTube and
Okay.
check
Is
it
it
out.
behind
Just
a
search for
paywall,
Valve.
or it's just up to get?
No, it's free.
Oh, nice.
It's free.
Okay.
Everybody can watch it.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, we have, I feel like as far as like noteworthy stuff, we've, Half-Life kind of dominated, or my ignorance to Half-Life kind of dominated that last portion, but
It's all good.
and I guess in general, like, is it commonplace, like, for a team maybe just to, I mean, obviously retention is key, right? Like with anywhere, right? Especially if you're doing something and it's good, you want to keep the same people for keep the track record going along. But like, is it usually a situation where you stay for just the development cycle of whatever the IP, and then people move on? Like, I don't, you each have your own reasons for moving on, but I'm just curious, like, because I know, I remember with Harvey when you were talking about you move out here to take the gig at to build a Rocket Boy, right? That was what it was, right? But yeah, like, is that the usually, like, you stay, you're coming for this project, or is it the thing, I'm gonna stay with to build a Rocket Boy for the amount of IPs I can stay for the cycle? Like, how is that? Like, I'm just always curious now, because that was one of the biggest I guess things that I never thought about. Like, when you come onto a team, you come on for the cycle of creating what it is. Like, you might get hired by, say, EA. It might just be for this game, not like you're a permanent person at EA. You just might be on the life cycle of this game dev,
So yeah, exactly. It's similar in some ways, actually, because so there's a couple of things that are different, I think. Like, so for me, like personally, one of the reasons that I started Proxima is because I've been looking for a studio that makes me happy and that I can stay in for the longest period of time.
Got you. Okay.
And I never found it. And this is why, one of the reasons why I bounced around, because eventually you actually get either blocked creatively, or there's a lot of politics in the company, or maybe you don't get along with your boss, or you don't get along with somebody, and you just had enough and you have to move on. So it's not so much about the project, because when you accept an offer, normally you're excited about starting the project. It's more about what happens as you actually start working on the project. And then the other side of things is that you also work incredibly hard for a long period of time in development, and it grinds you to a lot. It grinds you a lot. It's just basically like, especially as a director level, at a lead level, if you work on a game, let's say, I don't know, for 4 or 5 years, after the 5 years they worked in that game, most likely you've been through so many ups and downs that by the end of the 5 years, unless the studio is treating you extremely well and is actually fulfilling all your needs, and there was no problems, which is very unlikely, normally by the end of the project you're looking to move on for whatever reasons you have your list, right?
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things that have happened. Maybe production is not working really well, or maybe the teams around you are not working well, or whatever it is. So then after 4 or 5 years, you give so much of yourself to a project that you go like, I'm just burned out. I just need to go and see something else now to have more motivation to keep going and stuff like that. But ideally, I always start with the idea that I want to stay in this place for as long as possible, for like career-wide. And I always hope that this studio is going to be this studio that is going to be fulfilling for me to stay with my family for the foreseeable future. But it has never happened, and this is why Proxima.
Gotcha.
I mean, you just have to look at the news when you see certain studios have controversies about, what happened internally when a certain game was developed,
Right.
or, how a CEO behaves, or how a lead behaves, and it's just that all those things happen, and people kind of like take it in silently because they were working for a AAA studio and they want to stay in. But it doesn't last long when you actually have people that way, right? Maybe you have it until the end of the project, but then they just leave because now they have it on their CV. And it's basically what you were saying as well, Kyle. When I told you that this game is going to take 3 to 4 years, you were surprising to you because you come from music and television.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, it's like, what? Right? So it's just a different mindset, I think. It just takes a long time.
It almost seems like a very meta thing in the sense of you almost can gamify keeping your staff like a gold trophy would be like you kept 100% of your team from one IP to the other. If that happens,
that's what
it's
I'm.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's like an ultimate, like, and that would
that's
be ultra rare.
absolutely, absolutely.
Wow,
That's my platinum for me, at
yes,
least with Proxima, will be exactly that. Because like I don't care about any other KPI. If I manage to keep the team together from this project to the next project, and we're still feeling good, and we're still as passionate as we were in the
right,
beginning, then great.
man,
Because it's not
that's
going to be easy,
amazing,
right? There's going to be ups and downs. We're going to fall out with each other because it happens there at some point.
right,
But it will eventually, as long as we do it as a family falls out, that eventually is all family, is all good. We all understand each other.
right,
It works out in the end. The
right,
problem is when there is like, grudges being kept and politics being played and all these things that actually are away from games.
right.
That's the stuff that actually gets in the way of game making.
Wow, wow,
It's not easy. It's 100% not easy. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I know this is like this. We actually kept going on this subject. I just want to add one small thing, Kyle. I think trying different things and seeing what sticks, and being a foot soldier for a little bit, and make
hmm,
sure that you actually understand exactly what it takes. I actually have this big theory about being street smart versus being academic. And a
okay,
lot of kids nowadays are coming out of university and just going into games straight away and not really seeing what's out there and knowing what's hard and appreciation for the games industry and how hard it is.
right,
And I do think that you going through the grind like teaches you how to kind of withstand some of those tough moments in the games industry,
yeah,
because a lot of the time like the games industry gets really hard and things get very political, and sometimes even though you're right, you don't get it your way because there's other forces at play. And you need to actually know mentally, physically, how to deal with those things and grow with those things and learn from those things.
yeah.
And it's not easy all the time. So just like, maybe a piece of knowledge for anybody listening that wants to be a game developer. Because yeah, all the experiences they have, maybe you're a waiter right now,
Right,
or maybe, I don't know, you actually serving burgers right now and it looks horrible. All those experiences will teach you a lot. I was both.
right.
And I never thought I would actually kind of like take any experience from it, because when I was going through it, I thought it was absolutely horrible and I could not wait to leave those jobs. But looking back, I'm like, I'm glad I did them, because every time I have a bad job, a bad day, I'm like, well, it's not as bad as flipping burgers.
Right, right. It's perspective, you know. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. It says something. I mean, I guess the baseline is that you can have a lot of these what we call soft skills are very transferable no matter what vocation you have, you know. And I've seen one thing: no matter what you do, be a good communicator. And I always tell my students, because I did teach, and or even when I had interns, I would say advocate for yourself, you know, because a lot of times, even though you're an intern and I might be in the seat that you ultimately want to occupy, I can't always read your brain. So like communicate. And when I ask you, what do you want to do? Don't just say the thing that you think you're saying to try to get there. Like be very honest, you know? I mean, do it in a very tactful way, because you don't want to lose your you don't want to lose that privilege in that internship, but just, advocate for yourself, be communicative. Those are great soft skills that, as you can hear by Harvey talking, are very transferable from flipping burgers to making games. You know what I mean? Like,
That's it.
it's all there, man. Oh my God, dude. This has been, man, like I said, every episode I learn a lot. It's been again awesome just to sit and be able to live pick you all's brains. I'm very thankful for this position. So, as we always say before we leave out, speaking of marketing, we gotta promote Proxima.studio is the place to go. That's the URL, right? That's the CTA.
Yep. Also, Let us know what you think about our teaser trailer, because when you go to the Steam page, you'll see our teaser trailer and you'll see some gameplay, some of our game, and hopefully you like it. And let us know in the comments, if you're actually watching this on YouTube, what you think about what we're doing, and if you're excited about the game. We also have a Discord that you can join in order to know more about the game and behind the scenes and all that good stuff.
And I like to just say, we love playing games as much as we love making them. So, we do this show for you all. This is for the players. Once again, my name is Kyle K. Murdoch, and you got the socials. Check out the Steam wish list, add us. What more can we say? We'll check you all out. Till next time. Peace.